Well, hi folks, August the 12th, Vancouver Island. Trust all is well. Couple of good links that I'll have in the description again. You know, sometimes in Canada we look at the states, at some of their things that their sheriff department sometimes does crazy, goes off on a tangent. And that recently happened in Calgary. It wasn't the RCMP so much as the sheriff's department out of Calgary, out into a remote area of the province, and a young farm kid. So I'll let you watch it. There's always 40 sides to a story. The Calgary Herald did a story about it as well. I'll put a link in that to the Calgary Herald. And these fellows were out on a roadblock check, and well, I won't sort of try to explain it. I'll let you watch it. And you've got to remember there's always 40 sides to a story. And but from the couple of sides I've looked at, or the three sides, looks like the sheriff sort of buggered up. We're just sort of went over the top. But that's for a court to decide. This is all before the courts. And we'll see what happens. So we can't be smug here. We've got to, you know, for the most part, our police officers are pretty decent. You got to remember, sheriffs are not police officers. They're sort of take prisoners back and forth themselves to court and do other things. They're not basically law enforcement officers. As you would think, when you think of a high-end police force, you don't think of the sheriff's department in Canada. You think of RCMP. Maybe I'm prejudiced, but I know a lot of RCMP guys, and most of them and gals, and they're pretty quality people. The head honcho on Ottawa, I'm not so sure about. I think her name is Brenda Luck or whatever. By the luck of the draw, she heads up the show. But the guys on the street and gals on the street, I find are pretty fair. Another link we have is to George Gammon and Celente. He's interviewing Gerald Celente, and this is a really good one. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Gammon. He's a young guy, but he seems to understand business, finance, and banking more than a lot of people who are much older. And of course, there's a lot of people touting to be financial advisors, and you know, they're trying to sell you a book or sell you a stock they're trying to get rid of or something. But this guy is pretty much retired, and but just explains how the financial system did work. As Celente is sort of indicating, this is all changing. It's not going back to the way it was. So Celente also has a trend forecast. You'll find that on the link in his video. And I think it's $129 US for a year. You get a newsletter every year. He does a publication every week. And he sounds, he's an older guy, but his information is always pretty decent. So I'll leave that with you. You know, I think had a conversation this morning with a couple of people, and they seem to be frustrated as well, because most of the people they know who are just spoon-fed from CNN or CBC or one of the main networks, or are listening to the Three Stooges ban people from speaking. They're finding it frustrating that their friends just don't get it. And I suppose that's a frustrating thing for a lot of people when you realize how corrupt systems can be, how crazy they can be, what politicians are actually doing, what the International Monetary Fund, the WHO, the UN, what these people are really doing to the Western world. Once you realize it, and then you try to explain it to people, you get this dumbfounded look as if you've gone senile or something. And of course, the people I was talking to this morning, their friends aren't grade 9 dropouts. They're highly educated or highly schooled people in their professions. And I suppose that's the main thing. It's hard to understand how a mature adult can watch all these mainstream media and not come to the conclusion that it's all bogus. It's all sort of rigged. They all have the same script. They don't seem to realize that. Or maybe they do, and they just don't want to admit it. It's painful to admit that we've been duped for all this time. And that goes with a lot of things. We just take it on surface that it's all in our best interests. They're all looking after us. And, many politicians, whether from the municipal level all the way on up, not all of them, but a lot of them are there for their own benefit. And whether it's a little bit of power, a little bit of extra money, or in the case of provincial and federal, more money, and the access to do a lot of crazy stuff if you get really up there. Just look at Trudeau and Morneau. Crazy stuff. So I'll leave that with you, and trust you'll look at those links, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.